Morning, everybody. Welcome. This is the Hawaii State Commission on Fatherhood. Today is March 28th, 2025. The time is 10:02, and we have quorum today. Um, Now that we have an admin helping us out, I'm actually hosting from home for the first time in a long time, which is a treat because it gives me three monitors to work with, which helps me manage the meeting a little bit better. We have some guests, which I'm very happy to see, and I will get to introductions in a minute. I'm going to share my screen. Hold on. And if you can just confirm for me that you can see the agenda.
Yes.
Thank you, Matt.
Yep, we see it. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to ask our newest commissioner, Mark. Mark, would you please read the mission statement?
Right. The mission of the Hawaii State Commission on Fatherhood is to promote healthy family relationships by emphasizing the importance of fathers in the lives of their children. The commission serves as in an adversary capacity to the state agencies and makes recommendations on programs, services, contracts, policies, and laws relating to children and families.
Thank you. And I think that's an important statement. I think about it a lot in terms of the commission, and although we're the Commission on Fatherhood, isn't it so much about children? Uh, my name is Jeff Esmond. I'm the chair, and coming to you from Kahalu, Oahu today, where I live. Beautiful weather. Spring is looking great, and we're coming back. We're coming back. We are at seven commissioners out of nine. Six of us are here today, and I can't tell you, I'm super happy about that. Today's meeting, we're gonna go in a little bit different direction from the last couple of meetings. We're going to get to some strategy planning and looking forward, which due to timing and quorum issues, we keep on putting off. So I think it's actually great timing. Although it was meant for the 24-25 fiscal year, we're pushing it to planning for the 25-26 and ongoing, and there's no better time. Um, so I'm going to ask the commissioners to please introduce themselves and say anything of interest going in seniority order, starting with Alan Sunio.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Alan Sunil. I am one of the original founders of the Coalition for Dads and now serve as the commissioner also for the island of Oahu. And welcome on board.
Thanks, Alan. Alan is the man we lean to for all our questions. Our next most senior Commissioner Alan Cardina is not here at the time. Hopefully he'll show up. Moving on to Brian Alston.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Brian Alston, representing the island of Kauai. The weather here is great also, and looking forward to the meeting.
And moving on to Marty Oliphant.
Hi, I'm Marty Oliphant from Oahu as well, and glad to be here. Thank you.
Neil Chahan.
Hi everyone. So I am on Oahu as well. I'm Neil Chauhan, and great to be here again. So thanks, guys.
Mark Augustine.
Commissioner Mark Augustine here, representing Maui. It is also very beautiful over here, nice and sunshiny. Woke up this morning and saw the clouds. That was saw the mountains, no clouds. So that was a blessing, and that was cool to see. Just excited to be here today, and let's get it going.
Thank you, everybody. Moving on to our non-voting ex officio members. I'm not sure, but Devin, are you representing Kristen and DHS?
No, I think I'm just here as admin.
All right, that's fine. So we do have a representative from the Director of Health today, Matt.
Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Chim. I'm Chief of the Family Health Services Division. If you don't know Family Health Services, we handle all the maternal child health and family programs, including family planning, home visiting, the supplemental nutrition, women, infant, children WIC program, plus our children with special health needs. So glad to be here. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Matt. And Matt is a busy person working away, so always happy when he can show up. Um, Moving on our agenda to our Deputy Attorney General Sunshine Law Monitor, and today we have Aaron.
Hi everyone. I'm Erin Yamashiro. I'm with the Department of Attorney General's office, and I'm just here to um, provide input when it comes to the Sunshine Law. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have three guests, and I'm going to go in terms of seniority by attendance. And starting with Lowell, you please introduce yourself.
Hey, good morning. My name is Lowell. I am a case manager and housing specialist at IHS. And last year I put in an application to be a part of the commission. And I'm attending the meetings to get familiarized and to get to know all of you. It's nice to see you.
Lowell, it's great to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
And
you.
Kim, joining us 2 meetings in a row, which is great.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kim. I just took on the executive director role for Parents Inc., and we provide services on Oahu and Hilo and also Ka'u. So supporting, promoting safe and stable families is the goal, and we have a specific curriculum for fatherhood.
Thank you, and super happy to have you join us. I'd like to reach out to you outside of the meeting to talk about that curriculum a little bit.
Okay,
And
thank you.
sure. And our last guest, I just met, I think 2 days ago, or 3 days ago on Tuesday, and he has a great story, great background, and I'm going to allow him to introduce himself. Russell Kimura.
Morning, everyone. My name is Russ Kimura, and I just met Jeff, like you said, 3 days ago at the Kaneohe Business Group. I run an organization, FWD, Fathers with Daughters, and so I have three girls, and I'm really passionate about helping basically equip and train fathers to lead their daughters with intention, faith, and love. And so I do things like events. I'm putting on the Father-Daughter Prom, which you may have heard about. It's our 4th year doing that. And I just do little events along the way, as well as masterminds for entrepreneurs who are winning in business, but maybe need to win at home. And so I help them with that through coaching and different courses and classes, and looking to just continue to build into this niche of fathers with daughters who, need to show up and maybe need a place to be a girl dad and know what it's like. And so that's my mission, is to help girl dads show up and it's different. It's a different relationship. But me being a girl dad of 3 girls is something that I'm really passionate about, and I just want to help other dads do the same. And so I'm full blast on our prom, which is Father's Day weekend, and as well as girl dad. So that's my passion, and that's what I do. Thanks for having me.
Super happy to have you join us, Russell, and very, very related and connected to the Commission on Fatherhood. I have a question for you. It's a big week because I saw that I think Wednesday or Thursday there was some publicity for the father-daughter prom. Is that strictly for daughters who are seniors, or is it open more to anybody?
So the age is ages 3 and up, actually. So last year we had 4-year-olds coming to the prom, all the way up to teenagers. So it's really open to anyone that under 3 is a little young because you're just babysitting. So at least 3 they can kind of come around and do whatnot. So I would say the average age that comes to our proms are probably 6 to 14, and then you have some of the older ones as well coming through with their dads, which is cool. But at that point, they're going to their own prom, and my goal is that they would have a powerful experience with their dad first, and they dad show them what it's like to really treat them to an amazing, epic memory event, and then they go to their prom and they're like, this is prom, man. Like I want to blow them away where they're like, this prom. So we're gonna have, we're gonna have a lot. We're gonna have photo booth. We're gonna have red carpet. We're gonna have like the whole deal. We're gonna do it out again and really give them a great time to show up. And then I do a father-daughter moment where the dad specifically gives the daughter either a necklace or bracelet, depending on what our favorite is going to be this year. And they speak some life into their daughters, and we have some epic pictures from last year of the dads and daughters just kind of huddled together. And so we do that every time we do an event where we give them opportunity to do that. And I'm even thinking about having the dads write a love letter to their daughter and then put it in a little frame so they can put it up to remember that moment as well. And so just facilitating those moments is one of my gifts, is just providing a platform for dads to show up for their daughters, but like in epic ways. Like just, they should be dating their daughter, but like, anyway, so that's, I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, it's for any age, three and above. It's going to be at the Hawaii Convention Center this year, and yeah, we're gonna have a good time.
Thanks. That's great. Thanks for joining us. And I know Russell had emailed me that you might have to leave early by 11, but hopefully we'll get into our strategic plan discussion and you'll see a little bit of what stuff that we may or may not be getting into, and it'll be interesting for you. So just to let our three guests know, now that we're moving into the core of the meeting, that the general procedure or guidelines for these state commission meetings is that guests have specific opportunities to talk, which is at the beginning of each agenda item. And otherwise, when we're having a general discussion, the discussion is limited to current commissioners and our ex officio or other connected people like that. Excellent. Okay. I think today's going to move kind of quickly. The first stuff, I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, so I must ask if there's any community shares or concerns from the public on any agenda item. Okay, moving on to our current fiscal year initiatives. And again, are there any community shares or concerns? Okay, annual awards. I have some updates for you. Amanda put together our press release. This is amazing. Super excited. I don't know how it's doing out there. There have been a couple websites that have posted articles. I've been tracking and trying to find them, including a couple local news stations. But the press release is announcing our 3 awards that we have coming up. I have received one email, and I do not know if it's directly related to the press release or not, but I have received one email with a nominee for Father of the Year award, which is great. We don't currently have any applicants for Parent Friendly Business of the Year award, and for the sponsorship award, which is our sponsoring up to $1,500 for local nonprofits. I I do have 2 applications received, Discovery Center and MFSS, Maui Family Support Services, so far. Just so you know that between meetings, we had actually, before we even met Russ, looked into whether we can invite fathers with father-daughter prom to apply, and there were some complications because it does cost money to get in. So if you're wondering about them applying, they're not going to be able to apply. But hopefully there'll be other opportunities for fathers with daughters to apply for the sponsorship award. I'd like to throw it out to the other commissioners to see if you've had any progress. I know that Brian had mentioned that he has an applicant on the way from Kauai. The deadline is April 16th, which is coming up. So I'd like to see if anyone else has some progress out there.
No progress, Commissioner Mark here. No progress, but I've put my feelers out to some folks, and so we'll see what happens. I sent it out. I've been talking about it since last meeting, so we'll see. If not, I got a couple people that I could, yeah, voluntold to fill out. If they're like, fill it out, come on, let's go. So yeah, but
Thanks.
no real response right yet.
Thanks. I don't come down particularly hard on asking for this, but this is really, to me, it's a priority for commissioners to work on outside of our meetings as one of our obligations by becoming a commissioner. And I know when I first joined that all of us were working away, and especially on the Father of the Year award. It would be great to have some more nominees because we do have up to I think 7 awards that we'll be giving out to all islands if possible, or at least all counties. So we started talking last time about how to present these awards, and I need some help brainstorming this. As we concluded that discussion at our last meeting, our plan is to do a sort of press release / announcement on Father's Day, but what is it that we're leading to or that we're building to? Because right now we really don't have a mechanism, at least on Oahu, um, to present these awards. So really looking for any kind of guidance or thoughts, et cetera, et cetera.
When is it awarded? It's due 15th, but when is it awarded? Is that a different date?
No, that's a good question. We don't have a strict guideline on that or anything like that. Um, to clarify, nominations are due April 16th at our next meeting, which is on April 25th. We discuss at our meeting the sponsorship awards and we vote on them. The Father of the Year and the Parent Friendly Business Awards, we discuss between two commissioners outside of the meeting because that's more of a secret. And then we try to time whatever it is we do around Father's Day or with Father's Day. And the suggestion from Amanda Stevens last time was due to the timing and planning challenges right now, that we don't actually have an event at Father's Day or around Father's Day, but that we announce something. And I don't know what to do because previously Commissioner Cardenas used to host along with Parents Inc. before Kim was there, fatherhood conference, and we would announce them during the conference, but that's no longer an option for us. It would be great. Please.
Yeah, I had a suggestion, Jeff. Wondering if some of the organizations or an organization connected to us each year could host something that recognized the fathers of the year, on that island or et cetera, or in general. So, for example, we have ex officios, health department, Department of Corrections, Human Services, et cetera. And that if one of those organizations, each year could say, hey, I'll host a gathering of some sort, and it's a way to get our name and organization out there by another. It's a way to reach out to men and to families, beyond just what we're doing. It's a way to gather. It's a way to pull us together in a public way, not just in this virtual way. So that's one thought that came to mind, and I just want to put it on the table.
Do you have any specific group or organization that we could approach?
I think Matt is here. Is Matt Shim here?
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I mean, if each year if one of our ex officio, they're connected to us, and it could be, an after hour thing. It could be whatever they decide, you know what I mean? And we pull them together and we have this event and we acknowledge the dads that have been um, awarded this honor. Um, so that's one thought that came to mind. So, for example, on Kauai, last year we did it with the mayor's office. Um, this year, I might look at asking the Chamber of Commerce to do it. You know what I mean? And they have different events, and they just work. Maybe they can work that into part of their event where we're there and we're acknowledged. We get the newspaper to take some pictures. So just thinking, ways in which we can utilize, who we have around us already.
Jeff, this is Matt. Uh, Obviously, you'll want to do a press release, kind of like what you have right now, announcing winners. And then I thought in the past they used to do things by island event. So I know Kavika would have the father's weekend event, and then things would be presented there. Uh, there was an event I thought that Alan had in the past for Oahu, and then something was presented there. So maybe getting with our community partners and finding out what events they already have planned. Kind of like what Brian was saying, but stretch that out to the neighbor islands and really recognizing the dads and the organizations in the communities where they are. I think is pretty important. The statewide press release, that goes out to all the media outlets, and hopefully everyone picks that up. But just a thought, just an idea.
So we do have, so I think we're set that the Maui Family Sports Services, because organization, does their celebration of fathers and families on June 7th over in Kahului. So we're definitely planning to if we get a Maui recipient or two to present them there, and I believe Commissioner Augustine will be taking the lead on that this year. But we do have that planned. I know Commissioner Alston will get something together for Kauai. Um, for Oahu, I think what you were referring to is Commissioner Sunio's um, father father child look-alike contest at Woodward Mall. I don't know if that's where you used to do it, but Commissioner Sunio, if you have any thoughts, and we can keep it somewhat light this year, but yeah.
Yeah, this is Commissioner Sunil. Yeah, that I mean we did that for gosh, over 20 years. Windward Mall was really receptive to us having the event there. In fact, they used to call us and ask us, "Hey, are you going to do it again?" So we had a lookalike contest. We invited several other nonprofit organizations to set up tables and talk about what they do and introduce people to their missions and other things and have um, little things for the kids to do, activities for the kids to do there. So we attracted a lot of people, and it was always on Father's Day at Windward Mall. Um, we we've talked about trying to revive that event, in the past, and that's something we can look at. It's kind of, I don't, I, it's going to be tough to try and put that together now, for Father's Day, but one thought I had earlier that I was going to mention at our last meeting is maybe if we send out an invitation to the executive directors or people from these different nonprofit organizations on Oahu, inviting them to a luncheon to introduce them to the commission and then do the awards at that luncheon. Um, that might be a way to get the word out as far as what the commission is all about, and then be able to do the awards at the same time.
Do you have a thought?
So I'm
Sorry,
gonna
Aaron.
wait. That's a That's a great idea, Miss Alan. The only thing is because it sounds like there's going to be more than two commissioners at this meeting. It would have to be treated like a board meeting. And so you would have to, well, not you, but the Commission on Fatherhood would need to um, prepare like as if it was a regular board meeting. So like the calendar deadline, the agenda, the minutes. Um, Also, I know this is just like an idea and nothing's been fleshed out. But you wouldn't be able to charge people for the lunch either. So that's just something to consider when you guys are discussing this idea.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. The thought was not to charge them. Maybe we have some funds where, we could provide, I mean, it can be really something simple, and we just invite these different organizations to it. Um, but I'm willing to sit on a ad hoc committee to present something to the board as far as doing something similar to that, down the road. We can get a press release to go out also to invite others to attend if they want to. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
Eric, can I follow up on this on your statement? Because because we understand about having more than two of us together that we cannot discuss board business. And I think what you're saying is that presenting awards is board business. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. But if we were to attend an event and publicize the commission and just issues for fathers and children, that would not be board business.
Um, I think that I would need to have more information and then maybe we can talk about it later. But
Okay.
yeah, that's just an issue that the commission needs to consider when planning. Sorry,
So
Jeff.
Commissioner Sunio, I think it's doable as a official meeting. I think that certainly is doable if we had a couple months planning, and we could theoretically roll it into um, our strategic plan as a sort of kickoff in the next fiscal year, since we'd be trying to announce it in a press release in June, so it would happen in the next fiscal year. Um, it would take a lot of effort to put the event together, though.
Yeah, and I'd be willing to help facilitate all of that too. So,
Do you think that's an option for this year or something to work towards for the following year?
well, I think we can do it this year if we do it, maybe not in June. Maybe we can do the announcement in June that we're going to have a meeting or a gathering or whatever, however appropriately we announce it. And, we invite these people and then we do the announcement at that time as far as the winners go, which will be in the new fiscal year.
Okay.
So we'll have time to find a venue and so on and so forth.
Uh, um, you had mentioned in the past the children's event at the Capitol. I can't remember. Is that in October?
Children and Youth Day, yeah, it's in October, the first weekend in October, first Sunday.
Do you think it would be an option to somehow combine it with that?
Oh yeah, because we have three stages, so we can always use one of the main stages to do the announcement, and the governor and the mayor are there to open up the session also. So maybe we can get them involved with that also.
Okay, we're going to talk about all that at our next meeting and try to
Okay.
start refining our plans. Hello, commissioners, are there any other thoughts, ideas? All right, I'll move on. I think that's it on the annual awards topic. Please, everybody, get it out there. And we're still working on other means of publicity, which we'll get to in a bit. Okay, moving on to C, strategic plans and objectives, 2025 to 2027. Commissioner Alston has worked a lot on this, and he would like to do a presentation. I'm going to actually share the screen. Um, we had in the he had it in the attachments, the board packet, and he's going to do a presentation of this. And I'm going to turn the meeting over to you, Commissioner Alston.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, everyone. And just want to say thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to present this information to us. What I briefly want to do is simply share a narrative so you have something in front of you to look at. And Jeff, feel free, to scroll it as you see fit. But the documents have been part of our packet for the last few months. I'm hoping you may have had a chance to take a peek. Overall, what they entail is my first look at our mission, which our wonderful commissioner from Maui read to us, and really asking the question, how tangibly and specifically do I put that to work? What does that mean in terms of what I do as a commissioner, on Kauai? So that was one of the questions I was raising early on when I went to our website and looked at our mission. I also then looked at the different research on our website, and I was very intrigued about the issues that were being brought out and discussed, some of the studies, University of Hawaii, etc. And I was intrigued as to, do they apply not only to us in Hawaii, but beyond? So that was kind of the questions. And all of that led to the documents that Jeff has graciously shared with you and that I had a chance to develop. The first was really saying, how does our mission connect to commissions or committees on fatherhood beyond us in other states? And at that time, a year or so ago, I didn't even know for sure if there were commissions of fatherhood in all the other states. I just didn't know. So I was curious, are there? And then second, how do we compare in terms of our vision and mission? And so what I did was I reached out just through research on the web, trying to find commissions, and some are called committees on fatherhood, sponsored by the state first. Sometimes it was a city, but sponsored by a state like we are. And I just looked at about 30 different states or so. And in all of the ones that I found a commission or committee on fatherhood sponsored by a municipality or state, and all of them but one, and then I looked at their websites, and the majority of them, somewhere over the 15 mark, 18 maybe, mirrored us. They mirrored us in that they had more than one page as a website. It was, fairly comprehensive. They were advertising fatherhood programs. They were talking about issues of incarceration and child support, kind of a multi-dimensional approach to the concept and issues impacting fathers. The second group that I found was a very static page. It may have had a few contacts on it. If you need employment, call this agency. If you're having custody issues, call this person. If you need help in your parenting skills, join this fatherhood program. So very static. And those pages were kind of the second of the bulk that I looked at. And what I saw then was that we are in line with what is customary and expected around the country. I also took the opportunity to look at women's commissions, just a few. I first took a deep look at ours in Hawaii. I then looked at a few outside of Hawaii. And let me say that I randomly did this, looking at 4 or 5 only. And would you not know that 2 or so of the ones I looked at randomly quoted from our Women's Commission here in Hawaii? Our Women's Commission here in Hawaii stands out nationally. The Women's Commission in Hawaii also has an automatic participation of all female legislators in Hawaii. They are automatically part of the Women's Commission. The Women's Commission also has committees, a committee separate from the commission representing each of the islands, a task force or a committee that focuses on women. So they have a much broader spectrum of groups and of meetings that comprise what they do. Also take note that it's commissioned on women. It's not a commission on mothers. And so one of the things I noticed was their mission and vision is much broader in terms of what they can address regarding women and girls than ours is. Our commission is on fathers, a particular role. And I just want to make that distinction. One of the things that came about with that is I had a chance to read the book of Boys and Men by Dr. Richard Reeves. And I was at first taken aback that he noticed that also. In his book, he says there are no commissions on men and boys nationally. No state. He found it nowhere in any way from his perspective. And he didn't even mention commissions on fatherhood. So I was shocked. I wanted to write to him to say, what about the commissions on fatherhood? But he's thinking about that broader spectrum. So he actually started the first, a commission on men and boys, DC, back in 2023. So part of my thinking around doing this perusal of what's out there for us was also getting a sense of what are the issues that we're meant to address and how can we address the salient issues given our role, given our mission. So I want to say that. So what you have then is a particular structure, a little bit different than what the women might do. But in my opinion, it doesn't necessarily limit us. So let me add another point and then I'll get to the strategic plan. What I did notice that is salient for us is we have ex officio members. We're connected to the Department of Corrections. We're connected to the Department of Education, Health, Human Services, etc. All of these particular offices help us to have depth and reach to what we do. Also, if we frame the issues that are impacting men, from violence to homelessness to substance abuse to suicidality, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, depression, aloneness, disengagement, if we frame those concerns within the context of fathering, of families, of children, they are all areas and issues that we can find ways to address. So after doing this perusal, I began to say, what are our salient issues that we can work on day in and day out? And in doing that, that allowed me to look particularly at Kauai because I'm the commissioner for Kauai. And what it said to me was, if we come up with a strategic plan that acknowledges the particular issues and concerns of Hawaii, that connects those concerns and finds common ground with father commissions around the country. But then I, on my island, can look at how do I customize, break these down to my day to day on the island as I try to represent my constituency on Kauai. It gives us a way to know what we're doing that's collective and a way to walk out what we're doing that can be very individual, based on our islands and what the needs are. And that's what the strategic plan is meant to do. It acknowledges the broader framework of issues. It centers those issues within our mission as fathers that are focused on our health, on our connection, and our positive engagement with family and community. It centers it there. But then it takes the next step. It's meant to break it down, as we did in the strategic plan, around what it looks like for commissioners, what it might look like for the Department of Corrections, what it might look like for education, health, etc. And then it becomes up to us to look at how do we walk that out on our individual islands, in our individual departments. It also can help us set goals that are collective. It can also help us set benchmarks. It can also help us set what data we want to collect to see how well we're meeting the goals, how well we are achieving our vision and our mission. So that is the purpose, the meaning, the reasoning behind the strategic plan. Finally, the thought was perhaps we could be occasional, gather a meeting with representatives of commissions nationally, a virtual meeting in which we all talk story around these collective concerns, share ideas, and support activities. So that is overall an explanation of the documents that I submitted to Jeff and to the commission, and that Jeff so graciously shared with you. I'll pause there. Thank you.
I'd like to say something, if I can, Commissioner Mark, here, on what Brian is talking about, and just make it personal to me. I visited Washington, D.C. in February at the Catica Leadership Forum. And there was, amongst hundreds of classes and sessions, there was a Fathers on Prevention class. And I said, oh, look at this. I'm going to attend this one. I'm going to not attend the one I originally was going to attend, and I'm going to attend this meeting. And wouldn't you know it, there was about, oh gosh, how many fathers in there? How many people were in there? 6 out of a space of 200. And it blew my mind, and so I can see where you're going with this, Brian. I can see the need of this and how we can link up with other states and other committees and commissioners, because I somehow in that meeting turned into like, oh, well, what are you doing in Hawaii? I go, well, we have a commissioner on fatherhood. We have men's groups and fathers groups, spread out in the state, functioning currently, doing amazing things. And some of those representatives are here today. And we have judges that want to get involved here on Maui, want to see different things and not, dragging kids through the court system, right? Providing other things, more gentle things other than putting them in the court system. We have people that want to represent men in court when they don't have representatives. You can look at the mom, and there's like 20, I'm exaggerating here, but there's a bunch of people standing there, holding her up. You look at the guy, and he's just by his lonesome. And so that meeting that I went to turned out to be like, so, hey, Mark, what can we do? What can we do? And I was like, well, we got to build relationships with judges. We got to build relationships with our mayors. We got to build relationships with our community, with policymakers. Build, where's the dad that's stressed out? He's so stressed out that it's like, I'm just going to go ahead and drink my way to the ground or whatever, And so I feel that passion. I feel that desire. And I feel that need to link arms, obviously with each other first, you know what I mean? As we are doing, link arms with all these agencies, because we got something special here. We got something special. There's states out there that were representative in that meeting that I went to. There's just dads that they're angry. They don't know where to go. They have no idea. I'll go look at your government, your state government. Look at their website. Find within the Department of Health. Find within Human Resources. Just Google it. Do something. But start talking to them. Start writing testimonies. Start petitioning things. And they were all like, "What? Really? I can do that? What?" I mean, just simple as that. Get things going. Start the conversation. So yeah, that's all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing that experience that you had. And that's what I'm hoping, Jeff and fellow commissioners, that we could potentially take away from this, that we could see that we are already connected based on our vision and mission, and that we can build upon that through the structure that we already have. It's a powerful structure. And as was just said, we can link arms. And so, Jeff, I don't know if you're willing to help lead a discussion, or if it's time to talk about the idea of having a national gathering of some sort. It could be a periodic meeting. It could rotate, meaning we pull some of the organizations together nationally, and we sponsor a meeting and they sponsor the next meeting. But a way for us to find our common ground and build out support for our men. Also, it would be strategic, I think, to have someone like a Richard Reeves talk to us, because he certainly sees gaps. And he's one that realizes we need to start with our boys, not just with our men, but start with our boys before they become men. And so he really sees boys and men as a critical mass that we need to work with and support and encourage. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. Thank you again.
So, Commissioner Alston, thank you. I do have two separate items on the agenda right now. Us being at strategic plan, and then later I do have there was strategic plan actually focusing on SHSCOF, and then later I do have a discussion on getting more specific about that. So if you want, we can go back to, I think this is where you are, Roman numeral 4.
I have one question. Sorry, I know I'm going to head out in 10 minutes. I mean, it's super exciting. And I think, Brian, you obviously put a lot of work into this in terms of thinking through the next steps, and not just short term, but the long term goals as well. Sometimes the piece that feels overwhelming is one way to start, right? And then two, the thing that goes into my head is there a way for us to increase our online presence in a view that we structure some of these things? Like, I think, if we had educational programs or access points online and resources and so on, I don't know how we would start that process in terms of, what are the hoops that we have to jump through? What do we have to be careful of? Making sure we're not doing anything we're not meant to. Just, I think that would be that's my comfort zone in terms of if we can get through those bits, I feel like we could really create some structure there, which would help our kind of strategy moving forward.
Thank you. My first reaction to that was, wow, that would be super exciting if we could look at ways that we connect to programming like that, in a dynamic kind of way online, and whether that's an email list that we're constantly engaging with around certain resources that are coming out, as you mentioned, like education. It could be certain things that in our ex officio departments that they already have that we need to bubble those programs to the top and figure a way to give more online presence to them, more online life to them. So yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Can I just jump in? I'm sorry. Um, I think for like online, I don't know. I know you guys are just kind of like discussing different ideas. But just to, uh, you may want to loop in Amanda Stevens because she is the public officer for the Department of Human Services, which this commission is administratively attached to. So just kind of loop her in with any ideas that you may have going forward on an online presence. I know that the Commission on Fatherhood has a website already, and I don't know if the idea is to like, I don't know. I'm not really familiar with social media or anything like that, but maybe links to different platforms in that direction.
I can follow up on that. We did start discussing that at our last meeting, but I also need to correct two mistakes that I made earlier in the meeting, so I apologize. I seem to forget this every time, but when you did introductions, I needed to ask you to state whether there was anyone over 18 present in the room with you or anyone under 18 who has business before the board. Um, Speak up if there's anyone, otherwise I'll move on. Okay, I'm gonna say that there was no one. And I need to really apologize about something. You don't know it, but the hardest working person for the commission is is online right now, sitting in the conference room for us, and it's Devin, and she was hired as our new admin. And it was not my intent to not have her introduce herself. And I really need to stress something. She's working really, really hard. In fact, she's already put together minutes for the past 2 years. I mean, unbelievable. And she's been helping with finance issues and so many behind the scenes stuff that's going on. Devin, thank you. And I really apologize about that. And I'll make sure to introduce you in the future. But is there anything that you would like to say hi or anything?
No worries, Jeff. Hi, everybody. I don't really have anything to share, but if you do need anything, feel free to reach out.
I it's huge. It's absolutely huge that she's helping us, and not only that she's helping us, she's really working hard and doing an amazing job. So thank you. And then, in terms of Aaron's question, what our discussion last meeting with Amanda Stevens was, let's hold off a little bit on increasing our social media, kind of letting Devin at least get into the role, helping us catch up with stuff going on. Um, um, we haven't managed to get all the minutes posted yet because I'm still trying to go through them, and it is timely. But trying to get caught up and maybe try to figure out social media at a bit of a later date. But Mr. Alstead, I'd like to get back to you with the more specific strategic plan over your short-term and long-term goals that relate to our commission.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, if you could just take a look at what we're looking at here, if you go back to what was just said around educational initiatives, there may be and probably are something in any of these categories that we have going on our respective islands, things that we can connect to currently. It gives us a way of focus of where our time and energy could and should be spent on behalf of the commission. The idea of launching or connecting to educational programs or father awareness campaign, concerns that we have in the legal department where men are not having the representation that they need and deserve. The strong and growing issues across the board for many of us with the mental health, but particularly for men. It's an area where men suffer and have long not received the care and support that we need in the area of mental health. So I think these are the strategic areas of concern, and they may break down differently on our islands, but it's worth us looking at our different islands to begin to figure what we have going on that we can promote and share, and where the gaps might be of things that we might want to look into and perhaps start or look to support. So that's how I read these short-term goals. What do we have going on now that we can support? Where are the gaps? And likewise, the long-term goals. We could change if the years don't work, we can change that. We can adjust that. But it does give us ways in which we can, in a strategic way, address the areas that are meant to meet the needs, that are meant to address the issues that are impacting and affecting men locally and nationally. Comments, concerns from anyone?
I have one. This goes back to you have listed here advocate for workplace and parental leave policies. And it goes back to my personal interpretation of mission's obligations and our mission statement and serving in an advisory capacity. I definitely am very big on trying to get some kind of programming out there to help promote, to help improve something, promote, fatherhood, et cetera, and children. But in a way, I view it, and this is from my business world background, I guess, I view us almost as a broker slash consultant where we're helping to provide the advice, connect, do the connections, and not so much necessarily um, be the source, et cetera, because there are a lot of these programs around. That's my take on the commission's obligations, but I think that doing all of this, strengthening relationships, et cetera, helps us get there very much.
I would suggest it might be depending on the way that we see it. Meaning when we talk about legislation, when we decide to give testimony on legislation, we are advocating. So it might just be the way that we're seeing it. Meaning when we place programs or point to programs in a public way, through the grants or the money that we give to them, we're advocating. So I don't necessarily see it in a hard and fast way in which we got picket signs and doing things of that nature, but I see it in the way we do our business, in the way we choose who we're supporting, in the way we put their names and their organizations, forefront in the nature of our work. That's advocating in my mind. So yeah, I agree that there are different components and ways to advocate, and I think we're doing that already. I think what we're aiming to do, at least with the language, is to look in particular for the programs out there in these areas and find ways to share that information with our constituency, because in many instances people don't know what's out there. And so if they're going to find out, we might be critical in making that connection.
I'm just going to state for the record, and I know Devin's on top of it, that Commissioner Chauhan left the meeting at 11:01, but that we still have quorum of 5 commissioners on here. Commissioner Alston, is there more you wanted to discuss on this, or where?
No, I'm hoping if people agree with at least the spirit and the information, that we can utilize it in a way in our planning of our agendas of the work that we do, and that we can utilize it in how we understand our role on our respective islands. So for me, for example, sure, there's domestic violence everywhere and substance abuse everywhere, but on Kauai we have issues with suicide, suicidality. We have major issues with men who are just who are disengaged from community, disengaged from their families. And so for me, I started promoting like the Boys to Men project that we have in the schools. I've been looking for programs like that bring men into these environments with children, so that children have access to men. And for me, fathering is not just producing a child, but fathering is something that happens lifelong, that a man can choose to do or not do. And so I encourage men to be fathers and to be active in that role, whether it's in their own biological children or with others. So that's how I translate some of that, that work or those things that's within the strategic plan, how I translate them locally for my community. And that's what I'm hoping this tool can do. It keeps us all on the same page. Whether we meet next month or not, we're still all about the business of the commission, day in and day out. So thank you, Jeff, and thank you, commissioners. I appreciate it.
So Commissioner Olson, thank you very much. Looking at our conclusion page and our call to action, what would you recommend as the next step for discussion at our next meeting?
I would suggest if folks could take a look at how does this apply to their respective community and island, and come back with what their focus is going to be. It would be great to know what each commissioner is going to be focusing on that connects to these critical areas, and how they see it on the ground where they are, making a purpose and making a difference. That would be, for me, a logical next step. They're translating this into something that's specific and tangible for their work of the commission where they are.
Commissioner Augustine here. I will commit to that here, with that call to action of really boots on the ground and finding out what is it, running that campaign. I look at it as a campaign, and trying to figure out when I wrote my questionnaire, I wrote a bunch of stuff that was like really scary, what I want to see and what I want to do. Some of it was tangible. Some of it was really scary because I like to see like what I can push myself to do. And so I will commit to that, just so you know. I'll put it in writing it also, and then put it in the board packet when time comes.
I stay silent, hoping for other participation, but I'll move on unless there's other thoughts.
This is Commissioner Sunil. I don't know if you were on board at that time, Jeff, when the commissioners were invited. We were sending two commissioners to the national conference on the mainland every year to represent Hawaii. And so there is a national organization that we're part of, and they have resources that we can tap into. In 2017, we were supposed to have the International Father's Day Fatherhood Convention in Hawaii. But we ran into some obstacles, so it was canceled. But there are resources out there, and while we sent two commissioners a year to attend the conference, that was worthwhile because we were coming back with a lot of information and implementing some of the ideas that we learned from other organizations throughout the mainland. So I just wanted to throw that out.
I think that
And I know they have I know they have a session that they do they do it on a website. So that might be something that we can look at too, that we can jump into as far as participating and collaborating with other organizations and their situations also.
I have a quick question. Do you have a commissioner on the Big Island?
we do not. It is an open vacancy, which I will discuss a little bit later on, but we are looking for one.
Because, yeah, I work with a lot of fathers that are dealing in the family court system, and I see a huge need for support. I see a lot of fathers give up when they're fighting to be in their kids' life, but the court system is set up in a way sometimes it's very punitive towards these men. And I watch them walk away from their kids. And so if there's a way that we can talk story and really try to help some of the men that I see. Yeah.
This is Commissioner Sunil. Thank you for that comment because that was one of our targets in the past in trying to do something about that. And we did have, in fact, we did a program on Olelo about the same situation, and a dad coming on board or on the program saying that, how he was having difficulties with the court system and so on and so forth. So that was one of the things that we've worked on in the past, and somehow it just fell apart on us. But that is a big issue as far as what our mission was in the past. So
I think it's still our mission. Um, it's just that based on the makeup of the commissioners at the time, it was able to be more current and
right.
active there.
Yeah, you're right. Because, we had people that would go to the legislature and so on and so forth, but you know how that situation has turned out lately. So
So give me a moment. I forgot my train of thoughts. Oh, the national conference. When I came on board, I did attend the Zoom of the conference in both 2021 and 2022 because it was just strictly online at the time. I thought it was great. It exposed me to a ton of stuff that was new to me, really. Um, I think that they hold the conference in June. I'll look up information about it.
yeah, and I got to be really close to Dr. Johnson, Jeffrey Johnson, who put on the program. He was out of Washington, D.C. I don't know if he's still involved in it. It was with him that he wanted to do the conference in Hawaii. So we had started the planning on that and was told that we couldn't do it. So it was canceled. But that's a lot of resource through them. So there's a lot of resource through them.
I'm gonna move on the agenda. Um, this next topic, um, periodic newsletter. I hope Devin is still there because this does involve her. Um, this is a concept we've been working on for over a year, thanks to Commissioner Alston, and we came up with a newsletter a year ago, and we posted it on the website. And I had started to work on mailing it out, and I realized that sending an email like that is far, far, far beyond my capacity. But seeing as how we have Devin helping us right now, um, I revived it working with Commissioner Alston, and so in the past couple of weeks, Commissioner Alston has updated the newsletter, our first newsletter, with an intent to have it by 4 times a year. It's very similar to the one we have on the website from a year ago, but our objective right now is to get more publicity on the awards to help try and get some um, applicants and nominees. Um, this was in the board packet. So what I'm hoping, I don't know if this is ambitious or not. I'm hoping to get it out in the next week or so. And this will involve Devin because the challenge is sending out the email. This would be a BCC with a note of what this is, with the option for them to, with the information, this may be up to 4 times a year. Emails won't be shared, the option to unsubscribe from these emails. And we need to put together the email lists. And I have a somewhat limited email list, but I can go back to former Chair Matos's email list that he used to send out, which was huge, and get this over to Devin to help um, coordinate a list. If we can get it out soon, that would be great. But I was hoping to find out if anyone had any thoughts. And the other thing is, do you have lists that you can send over that we can include on this?
Jeff, this is Commissioner Sunil. Remember, I told you I have the booklet when I went to the Men's March.
Yeah.
I got the booklet with every single nonprofit organization throughout the state on each island. So I have the organizations, their mailing addresses, emails, everything. I just need to get that book to you.
Okay. Or if we can actually get it to Devin at this point, um, to help get this input online, that would be great. And, we can even do, we could start with what we have and keep growing this list. But, my personal objective is to get promotion out for the awards.
Yeah,
But
if I can figure out a way to get it to her, it's a complete mailing list of everybody. So
yeah.
just got to figure out how I can get it to her.
And for clarification, the intent is that for this to be completely digital. It would be emailed out
Right.
and posted on our website. Huge thank you to Commissioner Alston on this.
And big thanks to Devin, who helped to get it current. Thank you, Devin.
Okay. Outreach events. We're talking about 2 events, and we need to start actually planning for them. The first one we talked about last time, it's the Maui Family Services celebration of fathers and families on June 7th, and we can send commissioners out there. Last time, Commissioner Oliphant had thrown his name that he'd like to go back. He went last year. I had a good time. Um, and so we'll start the process. Maybe we have another month till we start buying the tickets like that. I'm curious if anyone else is interested in going. Commissioner Alston.
When is it, Jeff?
This is on June 7th, and it's from 9 to 12. So you can get back at a decent hour if you need to get back before evening. June 7th, I think, is a Saturday. Maybe it's a Sunday.
June 7th is a Saturday.
Thanks. Um, I'm hoping to go, but I can't commit at this time. So right now we do have three commissioners at least.
I can go. I come back on the 6th from Chicago, so I can go on the 7th if you want somebody to represent too. So unless somebody
Uh,
else wants to go, so
and I know Aaron is sending me brainwaves that we can't discuss business if we
oh,
go. It's strictly promoting. So
right.
um it's I, I need to find a variety of handouts that we have in our files and put them together. We have some time for that event. As for a giveaway, I'm stuck. I would love for us to have a giveaway, and I don't even know how to approach that, so I haven't done anything.
I mean, we could get something simple like pens with our logo on it to pass out. You know, I know some vendors that can do stuff like that. So if that's something that you want to consider.
Mr. Augustine, are you familiar with some of the handouts going out, being put together right now?
So yeah, there's we do brochures. We like to move in the brochure space, flyer space. Um, that's what I do for my specific program, for my parenting program. I only do brochures and then QR codes. Um, and for give outs, and is that what you're talking about? So having the table out
Yeah,
there, right?
yeah.
And having stuff to
Like
give
giving
out.
out
Yeah.
like up to 400 families something.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I think some brochures, I think, um, which maybe Devin can do on a Canva something, something simple with our
and
logo. And then the giveaways, maybe we can look into getting a button or something. There's these buttons, you can't really see it, but then you can put like a magnet on it and put it on your refrigerator, and it can have our logo, what we're about. That's one thing we can give out. Pins is awesome. I actually love getting pins from places because I like pins. That's just my side little hobby. And so that's what we do. We do things for like kids. I give out sunglasses for kids, for youth, um, because it's like stay cool, stay away from drugs, but stay cool. So that's my whole gimmick of the glasses. Um, maybe looking online and looking at different fidget spinners. That's always good too. Um, Stress ball, punching bags for fathers. Just kidding. I'm just
so
throwing some stuff out there. Yeah.
so in 2021, the one time I went, Mr. Matos had arranged and got some kind of huge discount, and we actually gave out tools. I don't know if they were from Home Depot or Lowe's, but it was really appreciated. I don't necessarily need to have a logo give out, especially if we do have a paper handout with our logo. Um, but Mr. Augustine, if we can find something, it's going to be shipped to you, take care of. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. We
unless
we have not a lot of capacity, but we can figure that out. Yeah, we can ship it here.
so. Um, we need to figure it out sooner than later and really maybe even finalize it at our April meeting because the finance office is so tough and they're kind of giving me this 2 month deadline to try to get um, expenses encumbered, even if we don't purchase it, submit it. So with all these great ideas, if we can sort of just come up with something and narrow it down. And what I had said 4 years ago, there wasn't necessarily buy-in at my idea, but I hear so much talk about um the connect emotional side for fathers and connection side, and so I wanted something gentler, softer, and my idea was a Dove's Men Care packet, soap, shampoo, and stuff like that. I don't know if that there's any way to possibly do that, or it would be too expensive. But that was where my thinking was, sort of focusing on the father's softer side. I'll
Okay.
try to I'll try to look into something like that as well.
Yeah. There's even when you talk about tools, there's even those pencils that you can get. It's a pen, but it has like a screwdriver, Phillips head, flathead. It's a leveler. Someone gave me that for Father's Day. It was someone took it, and I'm like, gosh darn it, because that was my favorite pen. It actually writes really well too. So that's an idea.
Commissioner Sunil, I know you have something you wanted to say.
I did find some of our old brochures, the trifold ones, so I can bring those. I don't know how many they are, maybe a couple hundred of them, but I can bring those, the ones that we initially did.
And the reality is we have funding. I mean, we have money right now because we just haven't spent it, depending on how things go with the sponsorship award at least, but we do have money. Um, um, yeah, Mr. Augustine, look into that pricing on that tool pen. That sounds kind of unique, you know. So I have another event, and it's in a week that I wanted to share with you. Um, sorry, hold on. Sorry, I shared the wrong screen. Okay, so someone was in touch with me. Civil Beat is putting on an event called Hawaii Storytellers Parenthood. And this is 1 week from today, actually. In the evening, the YY Collective I think it's at UH or it's close to UH, somewhere over there. I haven't actually been there. And so they're doing Hawaii Storytellers Parenthood. They have a variety of speakers. I don't know exactly what they're speaking. Stephanie Rum, Susan Okogo, et cetera, et cetera. And they invited us to host a table, which I think is a great opportunity. I asked how many people there would be. It would be 150 to 200. Um, and I would love to go, but I am actually going to be on the mainland next weekend. And if someone is interested, I will make sure to get to you our tablecloths, our banners, and Devin and I will work this week on printing up some stuff as well. Unless we get the brochures from Commissioner Sumio. Um, so, is anyone interested, especially particularly our Oahu representatives, um, in attending this event? Sure, all fun. I think that would be great. Um, have you ever been to an event, this particular event? I don't know if it's an annual event.
No, not this event, but I mentioned it by Collective before.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I'll be in touch. I need to make sure you get handouts, get the tablecloth and the banner, all within the next week to do this, and I'll reach out to my contact over there, and I think that's great. Super excited about that. Um, is Commissioner Oliphant, is there anything in particular you think as a topic you'd like for us to print something up when I and I'm just pretty much going to look at existing stuff out there.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly, but I think just what's happening across the state, maybe is that your question? Like what else?
Um, More on if you have a table, we're just going to give out some kind of a handout or a flyer. Um, if there's any topic that interests you.
No, anything is fine.
I'll
Sorry.
be in touch. I'll come up with something. I'll come up with
Thanks.
something. I think that's great. Thank you for volunteering yourself.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is Commissioner Sunil.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just this last night made a commitment to the general. I have to be at Hickam on Friday, so otherwise I would join you. It would be good if there were two of you there. And basically, because when I've done it in the past, I did most of them. we would just be there and just talk about the commission, what we do, and then try to get people more involved in it and build some partnerships with the other organizations that are there, and then find out what their needs might be within the fatherhood initiatives and so on and so forth. So it's a good way to reach out to people. And we're always able to hand out a lot of things and talk to a lot of people. So that's basically what you're going to be doing, is just answering questions about, I didn't know there was a fatherhood commission. What is it that you guys do, and how can I get involved? So those are the kind of things that are going to happen when you do these events. So I just wanted to share that.
Also, I think it would be a good idea for the commission to vote on having Mr. Oliphant attend this particular event, since it's coming up next week. And yeah.
So I can follow up with the other two Oahu commissioners, Chahan and Cardenas, but Aaron, if you're asking us for a vote, how would we do that? And to include them if they are interested. Are we able to do that?
I guess my suggestion would be the vote is on first Miss Marty to represent the commission at the Hawaii Storytellers Parenthood, and also either Miss Commissioner Chan Hun or Commissioner Cardenas, if
Okay.
they, yeah, something like that.
Okay. And then Commissioner Oliphant, just so you know, I think they wanted you there by 5, but I'll double check and I'll get the email thread going on that. So I'll make a motion. I'm going to move that Hawaii State Commission on Fatherhood represents itself at Civil Beats Hawaii Storytellers Parenthood event on Friday, April 4th, normally from 6 to 7:30 at the Bye Bye Collective, and that we send Commissioner Oliphant and possibly Commissioner Chauhan or Commissioner Cardenas if they are available.
I second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. And Devin, that's all 5. It's unanimous. Great. Thank you, Commissioner Oliphant. I'm excited because I feel like we haven't had someone at something for a long time. I think it's great. Okay. Mr. Alston, we're moving on to more specifically your national gathering, and which you've already introduced. So looking to be a lot more specific on this, and then turning it over to you.
Well, thank you, Jeff, and thank you, commissioners. I really want to say thank you to Commissioner Sunio by mentioning that there is a national commission organization, something that I'm not aware of. I think that would be the natural starting point, particularly if we have had connection as a commission with them in the past, to look at reconnecting, to check out their website, to check out their meeting schedule, on and on and on and on. Not knowing of that, I produced this suggestion around our reaching out to the different commissions and connecting. But it sounds like there may be an organization already equipped in doing that. So I think, Jeff, that would be kind of my natural inclination. I know I'm going to look up the organization and happy to find out more information and bring it back, so that we can decide as a commission if we want to reconnect. And that might be the organization to do it. They may be doing all of this. So that's my thought at this point.
This is Commissioner Sunil. Yeah, if I can add into that, and Jeff had mentioned it already, they do have a webinar that goes out, and then I know during their conferences, for those that can't join them wherever they are, because they go from state to state. So, and that's why they wanted to bring it to Hawaii. They do have a webinar for the conference at the same time for different sessions. So I can pass on that information to you. And then, like I said, it was Dr. Jeffrey Johnson who ran the whole program. He was nominated by, I forgot who the president was at that time, to run the organization out of DC. But if he's still involved, I'll give you his contact information, and then maybe they can point you to whoever has taken over if he's retired.
Okay, so I'll keep this on the agenda for the next meeting to continue this discussion about where to go with this. Thank you, Commissioners Alston and Sunil. We're rounding up the meeting. We'll be done before 12. A few more things. So we've never approved the budget, and I feel like we need to formally approve it. I've had this in the packet for a few months. I just update it based on bringing it more current. I found out what works for me is to have four columns. What's our total budget? 22,400. What have we spent? What's been encumbered and what's actually been paid to date? So far, those three columns are equal. I don't necessarily need to go through the details right now. We have, budgets for a variety of items, including business cards, travel, which I think for the rest of the year is going to be limited to going over to Big Island. I'm sorry, Maui for the event in early June. A variety of administrative stuff. Um, I have a good marketing budget right now for the rest of the year, um, which we haven't really determined that we're going to spend. Um, Up to $9,000 in awards is what we have budgeted right now for the current year. That's for plaques. And just so you know, one of the many, many things Devin has been working on is researching our trophy pricing. And I believe she's found, and she'll present it in next month. Um, I believe she's found a great option that's cheaper. Actually, it's really nice. So we'll find out that out. So thank you, Kim. So um with that in mind, I'm going to open it up for budget discussion and pending that for a formal vote to approve the current budget, keeping in mind that we seem to have some flexibility because we've made changes in the past and we just have to vote on the changes as we refine what our spending is. Sometimes for those of us who have worked on budgets, working on the budget is sometimes one of the best ways to work through what, the mission and the goals and the objectives are for an organization. And I'm going to go ahead and make a motion. I'm going to move that we accept this draft budget as our working budget for the current fiscal year. This is the same one that was in our board packet / attachments.
I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Oliphant. I'm sorry, who was that?
Yeah, me. Yeah, Marty.
Thank you. And open it up to discussion. Trying to avoid going through every single line item because I know it's not the most exciting thing. But if there's no discussion, be able to see the screen, I would like to, and we have a second, I'd like to put this up to a vote. If you're in favor of the current budget as is, please raise your hand. And Devin, it's unanimous, all five commissioners. Officer nominations and elections. We haven't had them yet this fiscal year. Maybe we won't, I don't know. But we have our ongoing officers here. But, since we're starting to talk about the next fiscal year, please think about the positions. We have four positions. We have chair, we have vice chair, we have finance chair, and we have secretary. And the role of secretary will be lightened because we have Devin to help out with the minutes. But it still would be a helpful role. So please think about that. Legislative update, and I'll go pretty quickly through this as well. There was a hearing a few weeks ago on SB 1231 SD1 that we had discussed at the meeting last week. I did go ahead and present testimony on behalf of the commission. It's available on video to watch if you go click through the SB 1231. The bill itself is headed to conference due to some editing. The topic of discussion that I brought up, which was focused on donor anonymity and donor identifiability, basically, they are not doing anything on that topic at all. So in other words, it is currently unregulated and it will continue to be unregulated. So they're neither codifying that there can be an anonymity or that there cannot be. So it's just going to be status quo and to be revisited another day. But the big picture of SB 1231 as a whole is it's been 50 years since the state has updated its Uniform Parentage Act, birth certificate, guidelines, et cetera, et cetera. And this is a real win, I think, for the state. I think it's a real win. Commissioner position update. So, sorry to say, but Jed Tesoro has removed his name, and that's a loss for the commission. Just so very difficult, but it's a win for his other commitments because he informed me he removed his name because he has, in the time that we were trying to get him on board, made other commitments, and that's a loss. That's a real loss. It also opens up another position for Oahu. And then we had our guest Lowell earlier. His application is actually moving through the system right now, and he may have a confirmation hearing coming up. Commissioner Augustine, have they notified you of any kind of hearing, Senate hearing on the floor?
Not yet.
Okay. Sometime in April, they'll have that, and they will, and theoretically, that will finalize your appointment.
I'm sorry, Jeff, Commissioner Sunil, who was it that dropped out?
Jed Tesoro,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So as Kim, who has had to leave, mentioned, we asked, we'd still have the opening for the Big Island, coming from Hawaii, and one opening on Oahu. That opening is only effective on July 1st. So these are the next three meetings: April 25th, May 16th, June 20th. April 25th is a big meeting. We're discussing the sponsorship awards and choosing what we're going to do with the applicants. Please make sure that's on your calendar, please. I put down locations between DHS and Winter Community College. I had that really nice room at Winter Community College as a backup, but with Devin on board, I'm going to remove that from future meetings, and we're pretty good at DHS. We confirmed this morning. We have all three of these next meetings already reserved for the regular conference room at DHS. With that, I'd like to open it up to any final thoughts. I have a final thought. We have a lot going on. Lots to follow up on this meeting. If I don't follow up with you and I said I do not hesitate to reach out to me and send me a reminder. Commissioner Augustine.
My final thought is be well. Make sure you guys are taking care of yourself and practicing whatever self-care you practice. and have a great weekend. Lots going on, yeah. So peace of mind to you guys and blessings.
Thank you. Let's make a motion to adjourn the meeting today.
Second.
I think I saw Commissioner Augustine as the first commissioner to second it. Is there any discussion on adjourning our meeting? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And it is unanimous at 11:42. We are adjourning the meeting. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. I can't thank you
Thank
enough.
you, everyone. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
All right. Peace.